been over 2 weeks since Mike and I have been down here at the shed. I just got down here a few minutes ago. Mike will be down here in the next 10 or 15 minutes. And we're going to do a little more work on the pinball machine. Now, the last time I filmed down here, I showed you guys this little adapter that we installed right here. And that seems to work fairly well. So I printed up a whole bag full of them, and we're going to install them in a bunch of the other holes to see what it looks like. We're still not 100% sure that this is the solution we're going to go with, so we're thinking about some other things also. But for right now, we kind of like the way these work, so we're going to go ahead and stick with these. And the other thing we're going to do is try and wire up these LEDs on the back here to see how well they light up the score wheels, and also run some extra power wires to the LED strings. When we hook this thing up, like always, we just provide power initially from the very beginning of the string. And for anybody who's used any LED strings like this at all, you know that the voltage gets used up, impeded by the resistance in the string as it goes on down, and the voltage drops. So the more lights you light up, the less voltage there is for the downstream lights, and the downstream lights start getting dimmer and dimmer. So we have fixed places every 50 LEDs where we plan to inject power again to make sure that the entire string gets plenty of power. And you've seen this in previous videos we did where we did that. So we're going to be doing that today also. So that's kind of what's on the agenda. I've only got about 3 hours to work today. As I mentioned in the previous video, my wife had back surgery, and this is the first time I can get away from her for a few hours. She's doing really well, but still, you know, 3 hours is probably about the max I would want to leave her alone without being able to check in on her. So, so we're going to work here for about 3 hours, and then we're going to wrap it up and come back again next week. So anyway, stand by. Okay, if you look right here, you will see the end of a wire. It's kind of hard to see because it's kind of a clearish wire, so it kind of takes on the color of the back plane there. But that is the end of the LED string as it runs through here. We're going to connect a couple of connectors on here. So you can see that we have a pair of these connectors, which is the signal that brings that's going to continue the light on to the back box. And then this is a little power connector cable that we're going to connect up to run back and pick up power. And farther up here, I'm not sure if you can see it, but kind of right back in here, excuse me. So right back in here is the junction between the first 50 and second 50 lights on this back plane, and we're going to extend the power wire from here back down to this connector also, and then that's going to run down to the power supply. So that's going to be the first piece of work. Mike is here, and he's getting ready to install the little LED bulb holder things on the other side of the table. So as soon as I get this wire hooked up, then we'll lay the playfield down, and he'll be working on that. So Mike is struggling with all of the stainless steel offset posts, getting ready to put the plastic back on. As you can see here, our little LED light bulb simulators sticking up there. They're working pretty good. They're not perfect, so we're probably going to try a different 3D printing material that's a little bit more rigid than this, but a little bit more flexible than the PLA that we started with, and see if we can get a better design. On the LEDs, we now have light up here, and even in this video, it's very obvious that it doesn't look very good. There's a definite dark band right here, and the top and bottom is way too light. Now, when the glass is on here, it's going to be covering up most of that bright spot. So it may be good enough. We'll see when we get our replacement back glass in. But more than likely, we're going to have to change the design of this bracket. It's kind of hard to see in the darkness here, but this bracket's maybe at too much of an angle, and we'll have to flatten it out a little bit so more light shines on the front of this. The problem is that this piece of wood right here marks where the glass sits. The glass basically sits against that, and as you can see, we don't have much room here. I don't know if you can see, the light is, but we don't have a lot of room to straighten that out without it rubbing against the glass, which we don't want. So anyway, it's something to play with. So Mike got the plastic back on. You can see that it's lighting it up pretty nicely, plus it gives the appearance of light bulbs underneath there, which is what we're trying to rediscover using the LEDs as opposed to real light bulbs. So we're doing a little experiment here, and you can see that with the light in place, and this is a piece of the old back glass, the digits actually look fairly good. We're going to play around with them a little bit, but they would work fine because we're getting a little light reflection off the back of the glass, and so it should work fine.